On this episode of Mom Sipping Sangria,
when you can compare your dreams to what's going on in your day right now, especially when you're going through something really difficult. Whatever struggle you're dealing with, your dreams are focusing on it, and they're going to help you with it if you pay attention to them.
Okay, let's do it.
Well, hi there. Welcome to Mom Sipping Sangria. I'm Sheila Walsh.
And I'm Anita Reynolds MacArthur. Today we are sipping on, it's a summer dream sangria. Sheila, this is pretty tasty. Where'd you find it?
Well, I found it on that interwebby thing.
That interwebby thing.
It's I figured because it's a dream theme episode of Mom Sipping Sangria this time that we should have, a summer dream sangria. So we're asking today, have you been having more dreams than usual during the pandemic lockdown, or maybe even weirder dreams? If you have, you're not alone. I know last night I was actually dreaming about being on a soccer field with a bunch of middle-aged Italian men. I was wearing red chunky heels. Like, go figure. What does that even mean? Have you been having more weird dreams yourself?
Sheila, to be quite honest, I haven't. My head hits the pillow and I am gone. That being said, though, the kids I know are dreaming quite a bit. Ava, for instance, the other night was a really long, detailed dream about a big, huge dinosaur. She never actually saw the dinosaur, but she knew all the details about it and that when it was coming close and when it was going further away, all that kind of thing, and super detailed. So yeah, no, definitely. The kids are having them.
Yeah.
Not me, though. I know I am, but I want to remember them, and I don't remember a lot of my dreams.
Well, lucky for you, we are going to talk to a lady who might be able to help you with that. We thought we would do a deep dive into the world of dreams, and man, this lady is so cool. She's a dream expert to the stars, founder of thedreamzone.com, and the author of Dream on It, Unlock Your Dreams, Change Your Life. Dream analyst Lauri Loewenberg.
Hi, Lauri. Welcome to Mom Sipping Sangria.
Hello, ladies. Thanks so much for having me on. Hope it's okay if I have vodka instead of sangria.
Well, just this once.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. We're talking to you from Florida, and you mentioned it's really hot down there. I guess there's really no time that it's not hot. Like, what part of Florida are you in?
I'm in Tampa, which is on the Gulf side of Florida, and we do get a winter. We have about 3 days out of the year where we get down into the 30s.
Okay, so 3 days. So you get a little taste of what we have up here, just a little itty bitty taste.
Yeah.
So, Lauri, we want to start by finding out why you became a dream analyst. What was the motivation for this career?
Well, I've always been a very vivid dreamer, and I can remember my dreams since I was 2-3 years old. I would draw them down. When I'd wake up in the morning, when I got older, I'd start writing them down. I had no idea what a wonderful thing I was doing for myself by documenting the other side of my mind. But it wasn't until I was 19 and my grandfather died, and he was the first person close to me that ever died. So it was, a very big coming of age moment. And I got very depressed for about 2 weeks after his death. And I had a dream where it really seemed like it was him coming through to me. And in the dream, I knew he was dead, and we were walking arm in arm through a museum, and I asked him, "What's it like where you're at?" And he said, "I can't tell you that, but what I can tell you is that it's secure." Then he gave me a hug, and he walked up the staircase, and I woke up, and I could smell his Old Spice. I could still feel him around me. It was so real. It really seemed like it was him coming through. And that's the dream that propelled me to study dream psychology, because I wanted to know what just happened to me. What happens every night? Why do we do this? Does it mean anything? What is the purpose?
Wow, that must have been
That's
so
amazing.
powerful, right? Yeah.
We're going to come back to that, actually, because I do have a question on that. But let's break it down even further. And so what is a dream, and why do we dream?
Okay, so dreaming is actually a thinking process. You are thinking when you're dreaming. It is a continuation of your thought stream of the day. We're constantly thinking. We always have this inner dialogue, or is it an inner monologue. I don't know. We're talking to ourselves. It's always happening. There's always a thought process. When we drift off to sleep, that thought process is still happening. But then once we fall asleep and enter REM sleep, which is when dreaming takes place, that thought process is still happening. But now, instead of thinking in words like we normally do throughout the day, we're thinking in symbols and metaphors because the brain is working differently when we're in REM sleep. Different parts of the brain are turned off, like the part of the prefrontal cortex that controls linear, rational thought. Other parts of the brain are turned on or exaggerated or highly active, like the amygdala, which is the emotional center of the brain. So you're still thinking, you're still commenting on your day, but it's a much deeper form of thought. It's a very honest form of thought. It's symbolic. So it's not literal, it's symbolic. And that's why dreams seem so weird.
And you mentioned you think that dreams are basically on that theme, a built-in therapist. You really have to pay attention to them because they're trying to tell you things.
Yeah, 100%. You know, we're all built with our answers that we need for our life, built right in. You know, no one really knows what you need for you at any moment in your life better than you. And so the subconscious will speak to us through our dreams and guide us and advise us and warn us and inspire us through the dream state. It is a form of therapy because when you can compare your dreams to what's going on in your day right now, especially when you're going through something really difficult, you know, a breakup of a relationship, or you're in between jobs and don't know what to do with your life, or you're trying to get over a death, you know, whatever struggle you're dealing with, your dreams are focusing on it and they're going to help you with it if you pay attention to them.
That really makes sense. And during this quarantine that we have found ourselves in, on your blog, you write that these quarantine dreams might be the best thing to happen to us. Can you just explain that a little bit more?
Okay, so since quarantine, I actually had no idea how good it would be for me because everybody started remembering their dreams. It became this phenomenon. Everyone was tweeting about their quarantine dreams, and and people who normally do remember their dreams are suddenly longer and more vivid than normal. And it was this amazing phenomenon. And everybody was like, I think every media outlet in the entire world came to me and asked me about this. And it's such a wonderful thing, because we're all now paying attention to our dreams and we're not dismissing them and we're wondering about them and we're trying to figure them out. And the reason why this is happening is because with lockdown, we're not having to get up at 6 a.m, roll out of bed, get ready for work and go. We get to stay in bed longer, which means we reach that last cycle of REM we have before we wake up naturally for good. And that last cycle of REM that we have is about 45 minutes long. So we don't wake up to an alarm clock, which is the biggest killer dream recall. We are waking up naturally and we're getting that long session of REM and we're remembering our dreams.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so they're not necessarily weirder, they're just being recalled more.
Yeah.
And so for people who normally, like myself, I usually hit the pillow and I'm gone for the night and I don't remember any of my dreams. So do you have any tips for people to remember them?
Yeah, actually, it's one of the easiest things to do to remember your dreams. So when you wake up, whether it's in the middle of the night to visit the bathroom or you're waking up for good in the morning, it is crucial that you do not move. You want to stay in the exact same position you woke up in, because that's the position your body was in when you were dreaming. So if you move your body when you wake up, you're essentially unplugging yourself from the dream you were just in seconds ago. So you want to stay put and quiet your mind. Don't think about what you have to do today. Let your mind be blank. Lay there in that quiet, still time. Give yourself 3 to 5 minutes, and the dream will come back to you. And that's all it takes. And it might, in the beginning, it might just be, there's a song on my mind. Well, that's on your mind because it had something to do with your dream. Or maybe you just remember something about a dog. Great, write that down. The more you do this, it's like working a muscle. The stronger your dream recall will get. And before you know it, you'll be remembering all your dreams throughout the night. And by the way, we all average about 5 dreams a night.
Do we really?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, every 90 minutes throughout the nighttime, we enter REM sleep. So the first cycle of dreaming of the night will be 5-10 minutes long, and then the next cycle will be longer than that. And each cycle is longer than the previous one, and then that last one before we wake up for good. If we wake up naturally without an alarm and get to sleep in, it can be about 45 minutes to an hour long.
And that's why it seems like you can go through like a week in your dreams where you're revisiting the next day or the week after or something. I see. That makes a lot of sense. So, Lauri, we also found on your website something really, really cool, and it's a common theme around here. We're trying to, keep it together and not lose it. And you have 5 warning dreams that you are about to totally lose it. One of them is missing a plane or a bus.
Right. Okay. So as we go through these, let me know if either one of you get these. Okay. So missing a plane or a bus. Now, this will happen when you are feeling some sort of deadline pressure. So, if you have a job where like you're a journalist or you have projects and you always are up against a deadline, this is a very common dream. But if you don't have that type of job, you'll get this dream when perhaps you're under a personal deadline. Like you want to lose 15 pounds by the time you reach your high school reunion or reach a career goal at a certain time. This dream can also happen when you feel like you're missing out on an opportunity, that something might be passing you by. So that's a common dream that Diane Sawyer actually gets.
Okay. Losing your car or your car gets stolen is another sign that you might be about to lose it.
Yes. Okay. So the car will represent your motivation or drive to move forward with something. It's your ability also to move on from something. It's your ability to go where you want to go in life. So if you're losing it or it's stolen, that's a good indication you've lost your drive to continue on with something, or you are feeling directionless. The dream is a warning, that you've lost your mojo. You need to find a way to get it back, or you need to find a direction and focus on that direction.
Cool. So we're going to do one more, and then I'm going to get everybody to read the blog piece on your website. Tidal wave is another one that is a warning sign in a dream. So what does the tidal wave mean? Okay.
So water in our dreams will most often represent our emotions at the time of the dream, because our emotions, like water, are very fluid. When the water is threatening, like a tidal wave, that means you're beginning to feel very emotionally overwhelmed to the point that your emotions are running so deep about something that it is threatening to pull you away, like a tidal wave does, from your normal routine or your normal peace of mind. And you may even begin to be feeling way in over your head with something. So if you're getting that dream, you may need to take something off your plate, or you may need to get yourself out of a situation that you can't seem to handle.
Well, ain't that the truth? That makes a lot of sense. Okay, that's amazing. And I think, Anita, you wanted to revisit what Lauri talked about earlier, too, before we wrap up with her.
I'd like to just circle back to when you were talking about after your grandfather passed and you had that incredible experience. So would you say that was a dream, or was that something more?
I do believe it was a contact. Of course, I can't say, unequivocally, conclusively, yes, this is my very deep feeling. And I have also spoken with thousands and thousands of people who have had similar dreams that seem to be a contact. That's not to say that every time you dream of someone that has died, that it's them. Most of the time it's not. It's just they are a symbolic representation of some part of your personality or something along those lines. But the contact dreams, they're different. They feel different. They're very, very, very vivid. The person in your dream looks absolutely healthy and beautiful. And they usually have some sort of message, like, I'm still here, I am fine, everything is the way it should be, carry on. Something like that. What was yours like?
Very, very similar to what you're describing. I've had that with people who are present in my life. It could even be someone that I've met of theirs, but that's very important to them. And then I'll tell them, hey, I had this dream, and they can do with it what they feel like. But I do feel like you that it could be a little bit more than just a dream. So thank you for that.
Well, here's scientifically why I also think, aside from just it being my belief and my personal experience, scientifically, here's why I think it's possible. Science tells us that everything that exists gives off some kind of vibration and travels in waves. We have radio waves, light waves, our heart works in waves, that's how we exist, how anything that exists. So if consciousness exists after bodily death, it is going to have a vibration and travel in waves. So who is to say that when we go to sleep and enter REM sleep, our brain waves have slowed down to the perfect frequency where we can tune in like a radio to that consciousness that's out there and communicate and receive messages. That's why I think it's possible.
There's something to that,
for
sure.
For sure.
Laura, we could talk to you all day, all night. You are so fascinating, and this world that you're studying and you've become such an expert in is really, it's just so interesting. Are we missing anything else that you feel people should keep in mind about their dreams or the dream world? Would you like a final say on anything?
Sure. So never dismiss your dream as just a dream. It's easy to do, and it's really bizarre, very disturbing. Oh, it's just a dream. Well, it's not just a dream. It was a very, very, very important communication that your subconscious was trying to give you. So in order to start figuring out what those messages are that you're sending yourself through the dream, start keeping a dream journal in tandem with a day journal so you can connect the dots between what happens in your day today and what you dream tonight. Because whatever you dream tonight, it is triggered by something that happened today. It's connected. I suggest keep them in the same notebook. Write your day at the end of the day on the left side. And then when you wake up in the morning, write down your dreams on the right side. So you have them next to each other and you can see how your dreams correlate with what happened in your day and how you felt that day and what you thought about that day. And the insight you'll get in that can be mind-blowing.
That is awesome.
Well, Lauri, thank you so much. You have tons of amazing articles out there that you've posted. You have a couple of books. Where can we find you and where can people follow you?
Okay, so you can find me through my website, lauriloewenberg.com, but Lauri Loewenberg is kind of hard to spell. So if you just Google Dream Expert, I'm the first one that comes up.
Nice.
And then you can also follow me on Twitter at The Dream Expert. And on Instagram, check out my pinup art because I'm also, in addition to a dream analyst, I'm also a pinup artist because my dreams kept nagging me to start painting. And now I have a thriving pinup business where I paint or draw you as a pinup girl. And so you can find me on Instagram at pinup_artist Lauri Loewenberg. So just start typing pinup_ and I'll pop up.
And you know what? I did see those pieces. They are fantastic. And I just love it. You have a real talent there. So clearly your dreams were correct on that one.
They were. They would not leave me alone for like 18 years. So I finally said, okay, subconscious, I get it. And I started painting. And within 2 years, I had a thriving pinup business.
Oh my gosh. I think that'd be such a great, interesting gift too. So we'll definitely put that on our social media, Lauri, for sure.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Again, fascinating subject. You're a fascinating lady. Please stay well and safe. And thanks for joining us today on Mom Sipping Sangria.
Thank you, ladies, and sweet dreams.
Oh my gosh, how cool is she? Like, come on, that is a cool lady. Lauri offers private dream sessions too, by the way.
Oh, she was just amazing. I'm definitely going to be checking out her website. A ton of great blogs, articles, and she's super awesome.
Cool. Well, speaking of dreamy, how about our husbands, Anita?
Now, there's a great segue, Sheila.
I gotta love them. Our hubbies, along with you and me, got together last weekend, and it was so good to see you in person again.
It was so good to see you again. And I have to say, Sheila, you guys went beyond the beyond. We did stay outside. And you were very good. You had different platters set up so that you and Greg would eat off of one platter and Ian and I would have the other. Your washroom was completely outfitted so that there weren't regular towels there. Like you really planned it out well. So kudos to you for that.
Thanks. Yeah, you got to do an extra bit of prep, right? Because we have to be responsible as we start to reopen. But, as this is the time to raise a glass or take a pass on something or someone, how about we all raise a glass to the cautious return of getting together responsibly again? And how nice is it to do?
when we did get together, we found out that we had something in common that was, a result of quarantining and the whole COVID thing. Being home all the time and not having to travel the roads and stuff like that, we both turned into bird ladies.
I don't know if we want to admit that.
Pretty interesting. Wait, seriously. I've never in my life had, been so interested in all the different birds that we have in our backyard. I know people have talked about these things before, but now it's like I've got multiple bird feeders and I get out there every morning and I'm like, oh, look at that yellow one. And I'm like researching and stuff. And you were telling me you're doing the exact same thing. I think that's hilarious.
I'm like, oh my God, there's a mom and a dad cardinal. And everyone's like, okay, Mom.
I'm like, look. We might like sangria, but we've turned into bird ladies, Sheila.
That's so funny.
Okay, and since we're on the bird track, I'm just going to mention that on our last episode, you talked about how your mom had certain sayings, and I couldn't think of anything that my dad had.
Yeah.
So in thinking of the birds, I was talking to him the other day, and he mentioned, he was getting upset with somebody or whatever, and he called her an old bird, and I'm like, Dad, but that's just his saying, right? That's what he's, and then fast forward, he was talking about his birthday coming up and he'd like to do something, before he falls off the perch because his friends are falling off the perch. And
that's where you get your bird theme from.
Dad, that's so cute. That's where I get it from.
Oh my goodness.
Falling off the perch. So my dad has one too. Love you, Dad.
Love you, Sid. What else would you like to raise a sangria to, Anita, or is there anything to vent about?
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of wah, 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 but then it actually turns into a big raise a high glass. So
Wait. What's the opposite of wah, wah, wah?
Yeah, really. Do a little dance.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So that's okay. So, Hayden, we got his report card back, and one of the marks was way too low for my liking, but it was a mark that he had when COVID hit, and then he really did step up his game, and by the end of the school year, his mark should have been way higher than it was, and it never changed. So I reached out to the teacher. Things were busy. It was near the end of the school year, obviously, and she never got back to me. So just after the new year, what time of year are we? Jesus.
You're asking me? I still think it's Christmas.
Jeez, you didn't even correct me, Sheila. So just after Canada Day, I actually thought, you know what, I'm just going to get this email out to the senior secretary, the admin team, and they can deal with it in September, but at least it'll be off my plate, off my brain. So I reached out. She returned the email immediately. She got the VP involved. The VP called me the same day, worked out the new marking system for him, put the new report card in the mail, and I got everything wrapped up within 2 days. It was crazy. So I'm going to raise a glass to them for working so hard, even, post Canada Day. That was crazy.
That's good. And kudos to you, too, for being on top of these things, because I think a lot of parents or guardians might let these things slide. They're not really paying that close attention to it. And their kids are, getting a little ripped off of their marks. So excellent. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
And so, Sheila, what are you raising or venting about?
Well, a little bit of both. Raising a glass to, have you heard of Expecting Amy on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
Amy Schumer. It's a doc. It's a doc about her pregnancy,
okay.
and she had that. It's like some gravis something or other, but the morning sickness that lasts throughout the pregnancy. So she was really, really sick. I just love her because she just doesn't care. She was out doing this nude photo shoot with her her butt hanging out and her boobs hanging out and her big pregnancy gut hanging, and she was just having a great old time. And she was talking about how it's all worth it in the end, as you and I know, once you do, pop out that baby. But it's not always fun and games while you're pregnant. So she documented this in a way that only Amy Schumer could. And it's on Netflix. And I totally recommend it because it's funny. It's funny. So that's what I'm raising a glass to. I am going to toss and not toast the sangria into the face of an unnamed banking institution. Anita, I do all the banking, right? I'm the money manager for the house. I think you might be too, for your house. And yet, yet whenever we get anything joint with this bank, without clarifying, they would make my husband, Greg, the primary decision maker on everything. So I complained over the years. Over the years, I was like, why do I have to get his permission to talk about my credit card that I applied for that you made him the primary on? Blah, 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 blah. And I was always told it wasn't intentional. So then I questioned, well, why wasn't it unintentional to make me the primary, right? So anyway, went through this for years and years and years. I pulled our business and went somewhere else recently. And when the bank called to ask why, they asked me to speak to my husband, if you can believe it. And he said...
They did not.
They did. And he said, I don't know the details. You should have asked my wife. So there.
Oh, my God.
Can you believe that? Like, honestly.
Right to the very end, they never got it.
Right to the very end. Times have changed. This isn't like, the 1800s, people. Crazy.
No, another industry that seems to do the same thing is car dealerships. I will do all the research on the, when it's time to get another car, say to Ian, we can do A, B, or C. Which one do you like based on the finances that we have, yada, yada, yada. We go and we take a look at the vehicle and they just look right at him, talk to him. We sit down at a desk and I'm like, oh my God. And he's always like, talk to her. Like, she's the one. Talk to her. But they just, I don't know. It drives me crazy.
Crazy? Like, it does make me bananas. So any place that is still executing that kind of thinking, I am taking a pitcher of sangria and pouring it over your head.
And I'm following it.
We'll toast to that.
And I'll toast to that. Time to break out the bizarre. This is where Sheila and I search for a really bizarre story and we spring it on each other right here, right now, for the first time, usually leading to the thought, seriously? It's your turn, Sheila.
Yes, ma'am. Well, since our theme in this episode is dreams, I thought I would look for a story involving bizarre dreams. So Self Magazine published 16 people on their weird dreams. This one really stood out as bizarre. So here is your bizarre story for this week. So this is from a gal named Katie, and this is her bizarre dream. I was in a classroom from my elementary Catholic school. I was in the back of the class as a 28-year-old woman, so she's 28 right now. She was with her classmates. I was panicking because for some reason I thought that I had to eat the molding art clay that was in front of us.
Oh, no.
It was so vivid. I felt like I could taste it while dreaming. Then all of a sudden, Bernie Sanders is there and he's reprimanding me for eating clay. He's like pretty upset. I'm super embarrassed. There's no way to hide it because my mouth is full of clay. I believe this dream ended with him telling me to go spit it out. I felt like I let everyone down. I'd really prefer not to let Bernie Sanders down.
Oh, man. I think she was watching the news late at night, for one, and she had quite an anxiety-ridden dream there. That's really cool, though. It goes back to, when you do have anxiety dreams, a lot of times they go back to you being in high school mode.
So if you wake up and you shake your head like, where the heck did that come from? You're not alone. As Lauri mentioned, there is some meaning behind it. And again, we encourage you to go to her website. She might have some answers for you.
And if you have a bizarre story you want to share, contact us on our website, momsippingsangria.com.
This is where we spill the sangria. Can be a confession, a revelation, a funny story. And this time, you, Anita, get to share one of the above or something else.
Okay, well, in keeping with our dream theme, I thought that I would bring this up about myself. After someone passes that I am close to, I will dream about them. But there is always a message attached to that dream that I feel I'm propelled to mention to a loved one that was close to that person as well.
Right. You were talking to Lauri about that a little earlier on.
And the very first time that happened to me, I was 15 years old, and I ended up writing about it for one of my essays. I got 100% on it. I brought it home, and my mom read it. She started crying. I was like, it's just a dream, Mom. She got on the phone with the mother of this girl who had passed away that I had had a dream about, and she started crying, wanted to talk to me. I'm like, what is going on? So I'll tell you what this dream was. So this young girl was 17 or 18, and she passed away, and I had a dream about her. She used to live on my street, and they'd moved away. And in this dream, it started off with me being at a dance, actually, and there was one of those big, like, sort of disco balls, like when you were in high school, they had those things going. So all the music was playing, and everyone was dancing, but the entire dream was in black and white. And then all of a sudden, the music started to slow down, and everyone started to also go in slow motion to a stop as this door at the back of the room started to open. And the door that was opening very slowly was filled with light. And out walks this girl who had recently passed. And she walked through the crowd of people right over to me. I was the only one who was still able to, move around. Everyone else now is completely stopped. And she's in full vivid color, and everything else is black and white. And she just looked at me, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? And she looked at me and she just said, please tell my mom that I love her. And I said, absolutely, no problem. And then she just turned around and she walked back into where she came from. The door closed. The music started up again, and everybody slowly went back to dancing. And then I woke up, and it was just the most incredible, vivid, every part of that dream. I still remember. I was 15 years old at the time, and I still remember it. But yeah, so to me, it was a dream. But once the teacher saw it, my mom saw it, and she passed it over to the mom of this person. And since that time, I've been able to have these kind of dreams, and I'm not afraid of them at all or anything. And I'll just let those people know they can do with it whatever they like. But I do tend to have dreams after people pass. It's kind of neat. I feel special because I'm kind of blessed,
That's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. And you've mentioned that to me before, and we've actually talked about maybe bringing some kind of like a psychic or a medium on Mom Sipping Sangria in the future, just to kind of elaborate on these things. Because you know what? Who's to say, like Lauri was mentioning earlier, who's to say that we're not getting messages in ways that we don't quite understand? Was it comforting to the mom?
Oh my gosh, yeah, she was so incredibly grateful, and at the time I didn't get it. I was a 15-year-old kid, right? So I was like, okay, yeah, no problem. Now I get it and I understand it, of course, but I'm happy to pass those messages on if they come to me, and maybe they are just dreams, but though sometimes they just feel a little bit bigger and more than that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if my dad comes to you and says, tell Sheila to clean up her room, then I know it's for real. All right. Thank you for letting us hang out with you, and we hope you're staying well and healthy. Remember, past episodes and recipes for the sangrias we mention can be found on our website, momssippingsangria.com.
In case you haven't checked it out, we do have a fave finds section on our website. Sheila has a new coffee maker that she's been testing out. And for me, I have a sunscreen that I am in love with for my face. There's no chalkiness or anything, and your makeup goes on smooth as anything.
So before we sign off, we will leave you with this quote. And Anita, you can take a stab to figure out who might have said this. Dreaming about being an actress is more exciting than being one.
Sandra Bullock.
Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, interesting.
Who died 58 years ago next month. And I'm sure there's all sorts of men who are still dreaming about her. Alrighty, that's it for now. Till next time, have a good one.
Have a good one. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
We are Mom Sipping Sangria. Swear to God, I am so messed up.
And what are some of the So what are some of the more blah 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 blah? Not cold anymore. Very warm in the basement now. It went. Beep, beep.
Can you just do that again? It kind of went bing when you were doing it. For sponsorship opportunities, email us at momssippingsangria@gmail.com. Mom Sipping Sangria is produced by Elm Podcasting.
Cha-cha-cha.
Keep going.
Woohoo.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.